Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In just a few moments, we'll be joined by head coach Nick McDevitt and student athletes from UNC Asheville. We're waiting on the names of the student athletes who will be available. The student athletes who will not be available in the main interview room will be available in the locker room for a period of 30 minutes. That time period begins probably about now, if not in the next few minutes. Concurrently, the Villanova locker room will be open with student-athlete availability. We'll have some student-athletes from Villanova and head coach Jay Wright join us after UNC Asheville is all set. A reminder, while joining us in the main interview room, please silence your cell phone. Please refrain from the use of any flash photography, as well as any use of video camera. That includes camera phones. You can use camera phones in other areas of the arena, but not in this room. Just keep that in mind. If you need the satellite information, you can obtain it from Hammond Communications in the back of the room, or you can come and see me during a time where we have a break. We have two microphone stewards. There's one. There's another. All right. Two microphone stewards. If you have a question for any of the student athletes or the coaches, just raise your hand. We'll send a microphone steward to you. A reminder to please present your name and media outlet before your question. And we'll begin with UNC Asheville in just a few moments. As you can see, the student athletes joining us in the interview room will be Sam Hughes and Dwayne Sutton from UNC Asheville. The remaining student athletes will be available in the UNC Asheville locker room, which is open just about right now. The student athletes that will join us in here from Villanova are Daniel Ochefu and Ryan Archidiacono. They'll join head coach Jay Wright at the conclusion of the UNC Asheville news conference. Go get up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined right now by UNC Asheville head coach Nick McDevitt, as well as Bulldogs student athletes Sam Hughes and Dwayne Sutton. We'll ask Coach McDevitt to please provide us with an opening statement. Then we'll open questioning first for our student athletes only. Coach.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Villanova. They're a good basketball team, really good. I told our team before the game that I didn't think we had to play perfect to win the game, but we had to play really, really good, and close to perfect. And we didn't. And again, hats off to them for the job they did. They really do a fantastic job of sharing the basketball. You look at 21 assists on 33 made baskets. That's a great percentage. So anytime a team shares the ball like that and can spread you out by the way they shoot it and good enough to put the ball on the deck and get by you, makes them difficult to defend. And certainly, again, hats off to us. Disappointed in the outcome of the game today, but very proud of our team for the season we had.
Thank you, Coach. We'll begin with questions for the student athletes only at this time. So questions for Sam or Dwayne. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We have one up in the front. We're going to bring the microphone in your direction, and again, please name and media outlet first, then your question.
Luke Notestein, WLOS in Asheville. Sam, not the result you guys wanted today, but when you think about this season as a whole, how proud are you guys of what you accomplished in getting here to the NCAA tournament?
It means a lot to us. You know, one of our goals in the beginning of the season was to win conference, and that's one of the things that we did. So we're really happy about that. You know, we're happy to be here. You know, this is a great experience. It's not the outcome that we wanted, but you know, it's still a day that we all will remember. So you know, we all are happy about it. Not happy about today, but happy about what we accomplished, and look forward to the future.
Continuing with questions for the student athletes from UNC Asheville. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We have one on the left side in the front.
Hi, Bob Burkhouse, Asheville Citizen Times. Guys, you've played 2 top 25 teams this year. Can you just make the comparison between this team and Texas A&M?
And we'll ask Sam to answer that first, followed by Dwayne.
I mean, both teams are really good. Like you said, both teams top 25. I mean, we have long athletes. You know, a lot of guys that just good with the ball. A lot of guys that's just bought into the system. You know, and when you have a lot of guys that's disciplined and that share the ball and can shoot the ball, you know, it's tough to match up against. So I mean, it's just difficult trying to you know, adjust to playing against the size and things like that. So.
Texas A&M and Villanova have a lot of similarities, especially the size. They have some 7-footers down low, which we didn't have, but they have some players that bought into the system and share the ball and bought into the coaches' ways, and it's working for them.
Continuing with questions for the student athletes from UNC Asheville. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll send a microphone attendant in your direction. Any further questions for Sam or Dwayne? Back up front to the right.
Sure. Luke again, WLOS. Dwayne, just kind of talk about what Villanova did defensively that kind of disrupted your guys' offense today.
Villanova kind of pressured us a lot more than we're accustomed to. Teams in our league don't usually press that much. They have long athletes at every position, which kind of threw us off. But the outcome wasn't what we wanted. We could have played a lot better, but credit to Villanova for pressuring us, making us a little bit uncomfortable. But, yeah, Villanova's a great team, and I look forward to watching them play.
Next questions to the right of the aisle. Len.
Len Robbins, New York Post. For both players, Dwayne, if you could start. It was a 2-point game. There was a timeout. Their head coach was warned to stay in the box, and they came out, and I think they went on like a 14-4 run, a 14-2 run. What did you see different about Villanova in those final few minutes of the first half? Dwayne first, and then Sam, please.
Dwayne first, and then Sam, as requested.
Yeah, Villanova cranked it up the last 3 minutes. They started pressuring us and got some turnovers, which led to easy threes by Ryan in the final minutes. And that kind of led to some momentum going into halftime. And they came out clicking on all cylinders in the second half and just kind of threw us off.
And Sam.
You know, we kind of went on a run right before that segment happened. I guess it was just them trying to answer. You know, they tried to hike the energy up a little bit, and it was our job to do the same. And I guess we just didn't come with it at that moment.
We have another question in the back to the right.
Andrew Rosario, New York Beacon. Gentlemen, you guys have a relatively young roster, so what can we expect from you guys for next year, and what are you looking forward to?
Let's go with Sam first, and then Dwayne.
Well, I'm one of the guys that's not young on that roster. I'll be gone next year. But you know, a lot of the guys are young. They came in and they picked up really quick. You know, Dwayne being one of them, Dylan as well. And you know, I just wish the best for them. I think they, as long as they stick together and continue to work hard and get the new guys that's coming in, you know, embedded into the system and get them going, you know, they'll be right back here again next year.
Yeah, I think we can come back next year. We got a young team willing to learn. Probably take a few days off and get back to work. But yeah, it's been a great season for us. I came in not really experienced, but my coaches instilled some confidence in me, and it kind of worked. And I'm just happy to be here next year. Hopefully I'll be back here.
We're looking for a final question for the student athletes from UNC Asheville, if there is one. Right back up front to the right.
Guys, when you think about from the beginning of the season until now and just the things you guys accomplished, how much did this team improve from the beginning of the year until now?
And we'll start with our senior, Sam.
Like I just said, yeah, with 4 or 5 freshmen coming in, you know, we were kind of raw in the beginning of the season. But, you know, with the work that the coaches give us day in and day out, you know, the guys became, you know, blossomed into great players. So I think we've come a long way. To have so many young guys and to take the conference like we did and be here today, I think it says a lot.
And Dwayne.
Oh, yeah, coming in, we didn't really have a face of the program. We wanted the first few games, we didn't really have the defense that we wanted. And then after like midway through the season, we started picking up defense, and that became like our thing. And that kind of worked, and hopefully it'll work next year.
We'd like to thank Sam and Dwayne for joining us here in the main interview room. They're going to head back to the locker room right now and join their teammates for the next 20 minutes of open locker room session. Thank you very much, guys. If you have a question for Coach McDevitt, please raise your hand. We'll send the microphone in your direction. First question for the coach from UNC Asheville. We have one on the left all the way in the front.
Nick, Bob Burkhouse with the Asheville Citizen-Times. Nick, their big guy had played 45 or 46 minutes total in the Big East. He had a big game today. I mean, how much did you game plan for him?
Yeah, we knew he was a load, and he's really good. And you look at I think the extra day, I saw some of the quotes from their coaching staff and things like that extra day of playing on Friday, Sunday, as opposed to Thursday, Saturday, was going to be big for him. And he looked like it. He was really good, really efficient. 17 and 10 on 9 shots. We just didn't have a whole lot for him down there. Early, I thought we kept him off balance. We were, in terms of showing him different looks, from doubling down from our guards to digging hard from our guards. Our posts were trying to do a nice job of playing behind and trying to side front him, giving him different looks. He looked uncomfortable for a while, but like all great players, he recognized what we were doing and had a heck of a game.
Next question is to the right of the aisle. Len.
Len Robbins, New York Post. Nick, as a coach, you understand how great it is to make it into this thing, how hard it is to make it into this thing. For the last 3 or 4 years, all Villanova's heard is that you can't get to the Sweet 16. Can you wrap your head around that, what it must be like to hear that day in and day out?
Difficult. I think they played like a team that probably tired of hearing it, for one, for the upperclassmen. But you also have a lot of players in their locker room that are significant contributors for them that haven't been there for that. They've heard about it, but that happened for the Villanova program, but not them. And so for them, you look at Brunson's and Bridges and those kind of guys that are freshmen that are significant contributors for them. So, I think probably the upperclassmen are tired of hearing it, but I thought looking at some of Coach Wright's comments, they kind of addressed it head on early, as far back as last year. Looking at some of his comments, we haven't made it out of the first weekend, and as soon as the NC State game was over last year, they started addressing it, and I thought they looked awfully comfortable out there today.
Continuing with questions for Coach McDevitt on the right toward the back. Lloyd.
Thank you. Lloyd Carroll, Queens Chronicle. Nick, I've been in Asheville, beautiful city, but I'm curious about recruiting. There's so many well-known colleges, basketball colleges in North Carolina.
A lot.
I was going to say, how difficult has that been? It's also kind of hard to get to Asheville, and you're not far from the University of Tennessee. So I'm just kind of curious, has that been a battle, just being here? Do you think that will make your life a little easier down the road?
I hope it does. Fortunately, we're excited about the men that are coming in next year to join our program. But it is difficult because you look at leagues like ours. There are 2 very like leagues around us in the Atlantic Sun and the Southern Conference. So a lot of Big South, Southern Conference, and A-Sun programs going after the same guys. You can kind of head to some other areas of the country where perhaps there aren't leagues like ours. They're only the high major leagues or kind of the mid-major plus guys. And schools like ourselves can go into those kind of areas and certainly still players. But at the same time, we want to continue doing a good job of recruiting our area and playing in the NCAA tournament in New York City certainly has to help.
Continuing with questions for Coach McDevitt, if there are any, just raise your hand. Final question up front.
Hey, Coach. Luke again, WLOS. I asked the players this, and Sam, from the beginning of the season till now, these guys really improved a lot, and you guys proved that throughout the year. When you kind of think back to the whole year, how proud are you of what this team has been able to accomplish getting here?
Yeah, I addressed the team as soon as the game was over, kind of touching on that. We're certainly disappointed in the outcome of the game. You know, but to start the season with a lot of freshmen, not knowing, we really didn't even know who might start, who might play, how we were going to play, who was going to step up. Will Weeks, gentleman that played a lot tonight for us, has been out really for almost 2 years with a knee injury. So you add him. John Cannon's eligible as a transfer. So we were looking at, we've got so many newcomers. We were picked to finish 7th in our league. So to be able to win our league with 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores starting, you know, takes a lot of toughness, sticking together. You know, early you face teams like Tennessee and Georgetown and A&M with a bunch of rookies. That can be tough. But even through the tough times, they stuck together, fought through those kinds of things, and here we are. You know, glad, happy of where we are right now, but really looking forward to the future as well with this team.
Any final questions for Coach McDevitt? All right, Coach, we'd like to thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Congratulate UNC Asheville on a terrific season.
Thank you.
We'll be joined in just a moment by Villanova as Ryan Arcidiacono and Daniel Ochefu representing the Villanova student athletes. The locker room is now open for the Wildcats. All other student athletes are available for your questions in the Villanova locker room at this time. Good afternoon. How you doing? Just in case you need a yellow one. You got it, Coach. Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined now by Villanova student athletes Ryan Arcidiacono and Daniel Ochefu, as well as the head coach Jay Wright. The Villanova locker room is now open with the remaining student athletes available for questions there. We'll ask Coach Wright to please provide us with an opening statement. Then we'll take questions first for the student athletes only. Coach.
Great start for us. I think it came down to our 2 seniors right here, Daniel and Arch, having the experience to understand how good of a team Asheville is. We tried to tell those guys after the game, Coach McDevitt and their players, and that's a young team. They're freshmen and sophomores, man. They're going to be around. They're really good, very well coached. The score doesn't indicate how tough they are. What the score indicates is we have 2 seniors that got a bunch of young guys that understand if you don't bring it 100% against a team like that, they'll beat you. They're good enough to beat us, but we played well because we really brought it. We had great leadership.
We're looking for questions right now for the student athletes only. Let's start on the left.
Ryan, late in the first half there, it's still a 4-point game coming out of a timeout. You chased down a 3 that you missed. A couple passes later, McCall hits that 3 in the corner. It triggers about 4 straight threes for you guys. Can you take us through that play, what's going through your mind, and how important that play was for you guys?
It was definitely important to us, but we were just catching and shooting, being aggressive against their zone. I think they're 1-3-1. They're really aggressive on it, and you can't be very passive. You have to attack it and look for your open shots. And I think we were able to get in the lane and kick out for a couple open threes, and then just ran a good play at the end of the half that we run every single day with like 4.9 seconds. So, yeah, we were just aggressive against the zone.
Next question is going to be to the right of the aisle. We'll start with Joe.
Question for Daniel. Joe Giuliano, Philly Inquirer. Daniel, the first half, you seemed a little bit hesitant. Was the ankle bothering you? And compare that to the second half where you seemed a lot more active.
It wasn't bothering me. I think I was just, everything mental. And as soon as I started going, I eliminated everything in my mind and just, started worrying about playing Villanova basketball.
Staying on the right side of the aisle, Len.
Len Robbins, New York Post. For both Daniel and Ryan, the question you were asked before about that timeout just beforehand, did Jay say anything to you guys in that huddle that stood out, or did you guys say anything to your teammates?
Let's start with Ryan, then we'll move to Daniel.
I mean, I think we all just we understood what was going on. We just tried to keep grinding and keep playing Villanova basketball. It wasn't anything in particular, no speech or like crazy speech, but we just tried to go out there and just work on the little things. And by doing that, we were able to be aggressive against our zone and make some shots and get some stops.
Daniel.
Exactly what Ryan said. I think, we weren't expecting ourselves to be blowing them out at all. So, we weren't surprised that it was a close game. And, everybody was in the huddle locked in. Coach was on us, and we all responded defensively. The stops is what really got us that run.
Next question is to the left of the aisle, Josh. Then we'll move to Adam.
Josh Newman, Asbury Park Press. For both players, when you guys are playing so close to home and it's a pro-Nova crowd and the place gets loud, do you feel like that's any type of advantage when it's a pro-Nova crowd like that?
Let's start with Ryan, then we'll continue with Daniel.
We know the Nova Nation travels well, but we try not to focus on that. We definitely hear the crowd getting louder, but at the same time, we try to focus on 94 by 50 feet and the players on the court, and we just try to focus on each other and not let any outside distractions affect how we play.
Daniel.
Yeah, it's always great to be able to play close to home and have our fans, cheering us on and giving us that advantage. But as Ryan said, we just try to focus on what we can control. That's our effort and our attitude, and keeping it 94 by 50 feet is something we worked on all year and just have to keep it getting better at.
Continuing to the left of the aisle with Adam.
Yeah, guys, I guess just going into this second round again, are you especially excited at a chance to, get into this game and win it, considering how the team has done in the tournament in recent years? And are you tired of hearing those questions about how the team has done? Coach McDevitt was here before saying you guys are probably tired of hearing about it.
And that's Adam Zagoria, SNY TV. Yeah. Let's start with Ryan, then move to Daniel.
We're just excited to be able to get a win in the first round, and then we're just excited to be able to play again. I think any opportunity you get to play, especially with the guys that we have, we're looking forward to it and eager to get out on the court and just play with each other on the floor. But I know that people have been asking the questions, and they're allowed to, and they have every right to ask them. But it's definitely going to be a game we look forward to, just because it's our next game.
Daniel.
Exactly what Ryan said. Everyone's been talking about this next game coming up for the whole year, even before we got in the tournament. But it's very humbling for us to be able to get this first win. And, just going forward in this game, we can't think about, the shortcomings in the past years. We have to focus on the things that we can take care of that'll help us get this W on Sunday.
Next question's in the back on the right.
Andrew Rosario, New York Beacon. Guys, how long did it take for you to get over the loss of the Big East tournament, and how much are you using that as additional motivation in March Madness?
Ryan first, please, then Daniel.
I would probably say that night and probably the next morning, but we try not to let anyone see us down. So we always try to keep a great attitude, and we definitely had to get better from that game. There's definitely a lot of little things and just minor things we could fix for the upcoming game against Asheville. So I would say we got over it pretty quickly, but it was definitely tough right after the game.
Yeah, we got over it extremely quickly. We had the selection show the day after, and we found out we were playing UNC Asheville. So, everybody just eliminated that loss in their mind. We learned what we could from it, and we started preparing for UNC Asheville.
I'm sorry, we only have time for one more, and we're going to go up here to the second row.
For Daniel, you like to get your teammates involved. Were you thinking past first half more than shot? It seemed like you were wanting to get guys involved, or is that not the case?
I wasn't really. I was just trying to be aggressive, do what my teammates expected me to do. Their defensive plan was kind of, tripping me up in the first half mentally, and I was making some of the wrong decisions. So, Coach got on me in the locker room in the huddles and responded and, made the adjustments that we needed to, kicking the ball out to shooters like Ryan, Josh, guys cutting and scoring when I could.
We'd like to thank Ryan and Daniel for joining us here in the main interview room. They're going to head back to the Villanova locker room, which should be open for about 10 more minutes. Looking good. Yeah, we're going to let these guys go soon. All right, first question for Coach Wright is going to be to the right of the aisle. Name and media outlet, guys, please remember.
Jeremy Schneider, Star Ledger. Coach, obviously, game out there being played right now, but the chance to play Temple in a Big 5 game in the tournament, how special would that be for you in the program?
Honestly, a lot of mixed emotions about those games. Growing up in Philly, every time I coach in one of those games, I got to pinch myself that I'm in it. In Philadelphia, that's like an Auburn, Alabama. It's like living in Alabama and playing Auburn, Alabama football game. That's what those games are like. But on the other side, the coaches are really good friends, and I hate coaching against my friends. So it's like for Philadelphia, we all take great pride in Philadelphia basketball. I'd like to see Temple win this game, but then we'd have to play against them, and I really don't enjoy that, to be honest.
To the left of the aisle, Josh.
Josh Newman, Asbury Park Press. And just to follow that up, if you did play Temple, does it have a different feel just because of the finality of the whole thing, that one team will advance and one team will go home?
Definitely. Any game you play in the Big East tournament, the NCAA tournament, it just takes on a whole different vibe. In 2009, when we played Pitt in the Final 8, I remember people saying, well, it's just another Big East game. It was not another Big East game. It's just so much bigger. The finality brings a lot more to the game. So the Big 5 games are big in Philly, trust me. But this would be bigger.
To the right of the aisle, Len.
Len Robbins, New York Post. Jay, Mark's trying to limit us to one question. This is a two-part question, if you can bear with me. First of all,
there's a shocker. You're not going by the rules. That's good.
Do you recall the last time in an NCAA tournament game you were warned to stay in the box?
No, but I probably was once, but I'm not an angel, so I don't remember. Why, do you know?
I just asked the question, so I'm not a statistician. The second thing is, you said that the difference was the two seniors.
You are a wise ass, though, and I thought you were going to say a Hofstra game in this year. I was trying to be kind.
Hold on, ASAP. Can you guys just glitch that rear end remark? Can you
Let's get to part B of this question, please.
You said that it was the two seniors that were the difference in the game, right? But are there times when you can sense that even they need you to be a little bit more demonstrative or emphatic?
Yeah, they're just, they're players. They're like thoroughbreds. Thoroughbred horses have a jockey on them. They're born and bred to run, but they still have a jockey that needs to push them sometimes. And those two are the best. Like I said, that UNC Asheville team is very, very good. And these two have been through a lot of games. They know that kind of team can beat you. And they just stayed on our guys about all the details, preparation, when we were watching film, telling them how important everything was. And it's really because of those two on the floor that we really played well.
Bob Ford, Philadelphia Inquirer. Following up on what I asked Daniel, the first half, he looked tentative, maybe the wrong word, but when he got the ball, he neither passed nor went himself. Right. I mean, either one is fine with you, right. I know. Is that what you got on him about? Yeah. I don't care what you do, just do something?
Yeah, and you heard him say their attack confused him a little bit. They were mixing up their coverages. That sometimes they were coming at him right away. Sometimes they were waiting for him to put it on the floor, and he was getting a little confused because, one time he passed it out, they didn't come and get him. The next time they doubled him, he fought through the double team, and he was, they were doing a good job. And in the second half, we told him just choose, score first, just go, and then if they come, you trust your instincts. You'll make the right decision, and he did. He was great.
Continuing on the right side in the front.
Mike Kern, Philly Daily News. Jay, you've told us all year, whenever the second round has come up, let's just get to that point. Like,
Exactly.
Now that you're at this point, how does it feel that the questions that are being asked are relevant?
Yeah, it's really exciting for us. It really is. It's really probably what our biggest concern was. If all season, if we would have answered those questions and we lost this game today, we're idiots. To talk about that and to know how hard it is to get there, it would really be unintelligent. And that's what really we told our guys during the year. We said, guys, it's the job of the media to ask that question. It's their job. We can't answer, if we answer, we're idiots, because we might not get to the tournament. We might not get past for the first round. So we can't do anything about that till we get there. I'm happy for them, how they've handled everything to get to this point. And now, everyone's going to ask the question. We got to go do it. It's bottom line. And if we don't do it, it's failure. But there's nothing wrong with failure in sports if you give your best effort.
Next question's all the way to the right, all the way back.
Andrew Rosario, New York Beacon. Coach, can you talk about Bridges' contribution off the bench, 26 minutes, 12 points, 2 of 4 from three-point?
He's big for us. He's really big for us. He's just continually gotten better throughout the season. He gives us great size out there on the perimeter. He's starting to really make good decisions. He gives us a drive game where he can get to the basket and score with his length. One of our best perimeter defenders. Believe it, he did a good job on Whitehead, believe it or not, even though Whitehead 26, but he actually did a good job. Whitehead was that good in the Big East final. He's really big for us. I think he's got a great future, but he's going to be really important in this tournament.
We're going to go to the second row on the right, Joe.
Jay, coming into the game, their three-point D was really tough, 28.4%, 5.8 threes. You had 13 threes and shot like 46%. Was there something that you saw, or was it just making sure you kept moving the ball, swinging it, and reversing it?
Really, it was Daniel. In their conference, they don't play as many people. They can guard guys one-on-one inside, and then they can get out on three-point shoot. And they started on him early. They did a good job on him early. And we weren't really hitting three. I don't know how many threes we had in the first half, but we hit 2 late. But before that, we had 4 in the first half. But all right. So I mean, they were doing it. They were doing what they do. They were guarding us one-on-one inside and taking away the threes. But when Daniel got it going, they had to come after Daniel. And also defensively, I know it doesn't look this way, us winning by 30, but we've watched film of those guys. Hughes, Thomas, Sutton, those guys took the ball to the basket and scored on everybody. Daniel and Darryl did a great job of just keeping their hands back and not fouling them. And that way we got some in transition too. So they usually score, so they don't give up any in transition, and then they can guard one-on-one in the post.
We have time for one more question for Coach Wright, if there is one. All right, Coach, thank you very much for joining us.